in this company, and suddenly there is a stoppage in the supply of a product because of this mergers and all. Internal supply chain risk, we know these are inherent to the and it's easier to control this risk factor than the external risk factors. This but some of these risk factors are unavoidable. Here is what to look for: manufacturing risk, where raw material shortage or there is a disruption in the workflow. There is a business risk where there is a standard personal management changes. The person who was main person has left, and we did not have good planning system. There is an inaccurate system. Our plan didn't work. There's a mitigation and contingency risk where we did not have proper and we could not apply that in time. So we need to have our supply chain should be mapped, and beforehand we need to know what are the risk factor in my supply chain, from where it may have risk, and strategies to mitigate this risk should be in place. We should have technologies so that I can see my product, how much manufacturers have produced it, how much is it in his warehouses, how my CNF is carrying, how my distributors are carrying. We have to use this technology to mitigate some of this risk. Let us look into supply chain risk management strategies. We know this is a global world nowadays, and there are a lot of potential cyber interferences. We learned from the webinar a couple of days back, and there are a risk reduction model like PPPR model. What is this model? Let us see. Preventions. We need to have precautionary measures so that we can mitigate those supply chain risks. We need to have contingency plan when this strikes, what we are going to do, and we should be ready to execute this contingency plan whenever there is a disruption, a disruptive event. And once this event is over, we should be able to come to recovery mode where we resume our operations as it was running before that particular event. Let us look into some of those managing those risks. Most of us before COVID-19 strike us in 2020, we had single source of supplies. We started moving from multiple source of supplies. Even at international level, China was the manufacturing hub. Now country have started looking at other manufacturing places other than China. We started looking into our supply chain risk assessment through software where we are weak, and we started looking into our supply chain where the product is right now, how much it is there. We started looking for multi-source, as I told, rather than one supplier, multiple supplier from multiple, so that if one supplier is having problem, we can get it. This term nearshore came from offshores. We know this has come from post COVID-19, where a lot of supplies were in the world were coming from China. When China has COVID, all these supplies stopped, and countries started manufacturing. They started moving it near to their country, so that in such climatic or such a pandemic, we can have those manufactured nearby, so that delivery becomes easy in such cases. Cyber supply chain risk management, we have learned a couple of days back. I will because we are using a lot of digital technology nowadays. There is a real cyber security risk like malware, ransomware, phishing, hacking risk, and we have to strengthen our cyber security defenses by following cyber security. We have to establish compliance standards on all third-party vendors, including manufacturers, suppliers, and distributors. We have to define roles and implement security control. Who have access to the system, what kind of clearances are required. We have to do the vendor risk assessment prior to signing any contract with them. We have to implement data stewardship standards by defining who owns certain data and what they are going to do with that data. This is very, very important. Data stewardship, it provides comprehensive, we have to provide comprehensive training to all the employee on cyber security protocols. We have to implement software solutions so that if there is any risk, we can detect that unusual activity very quickly and take action. We need to have disaster plans ready. We need to have backup control, and those control or backups should be also safeguarded. There should be regular update of antivirus, anti-spyware, firewall solution for maintaining good supply chain. Of course, technology, we have to use it. There are blockchain technology, internet of things, these sensors, they provide good visibility where the product is lying in case when we have more demand. And of course, this is very important, which we learned very well in COVID-19, making buffer inventory and capacity. If you know there is a risk involved, flood comes during this month, we have to increase supplies, we have to increase our inventory during that time. In US, like hurricane happens, those season they increase 1 to 2 months of supplies. Local, based on local risk factor, we need to definitely work on this. We need to have good freight carrier metrics, right metrics, so that we can get supply as quickly as possible. And we have to make our freight carrier as well our important partner in supply chain. We have to look into, before looking into a vendor, his freight courier, we have to check certain metric, transit time, how much time it is taking from supply from one location to another, how many stops are coming in between, what is average stop time for that, what is average loading time, and if possible route optimization, if it is taking more time, that may give us a quicker delivery. And any vendor which are making good maintenance schedule for his couriers, it means chances of breakdowns for such will be very, very less. And it's not one time risk, which is in such case, it is we have to consistently monitor our risk in the supply chain. It is not one time job, we have to keep on doing this job. These are some of the lessons we have learned during COVID-19 for our supply chain. We could predict in 2020 Feb that COVID-19 is. We could align our manufacturers, we could look for their preparedness and what challenges they are facing. Based on that, based on this risk assessment, we increase our supplies, stored bulk materials, look for multiple vendors, and critical items, we increase their stock. We bought the stock from multiple vendors, we optimize our consumptions. These were some of the learning which came from COVID-19. Way forward in supply chain is basically blockchain and IO, Internet of Things, which is coming very fast. I'll give you one of the example is radio frequency tag. You can see really this happening in Walmarts. If they, for example, if they put an offer on Pampers, all these products are radio frequency tagged. Once their sales increases, immediately because they are connecting with the internet, automatically they check how much warehouse is having this supply, automatic order goes to that, and then this also checks how much CFA is having that, and all these trucks where supply comes, they're also radio frequency tagged, how much time it will take, so that correctly we'll know how fast we can we can replenish our stocks. And automatically this alert goes to the manufacturer level. They look into how much they are having, how much raw material they are having. Based on that, their manufacturing also can be planned. This is the future in the supply chain, and we can see this future coming in. Thank you very much for patient hearing.
Thank you, Dr. Sharma. I think it was a brilliant presentation. It was definitely all about supply chain management. I think you elaborated everything about the supply chain management, including the risk in supply chain management, where the patient safety is the most important thing in it. You also discussed about the types of supply chain management, and the most important thing is about the code of conduct for all the suppliers and the institutions as well. So the strategy for supply chain differs from different geographies and kind of hospitals or kind of people you serve. So that is the key mantra and key takeaway from this. And post COVID, so we have the new normal, and the agility is the term which you have told us. I think that was a brilliant presentation, and we'll take some questions from the audience to take it further. So you all can post your questions on the chat box, and our speakers will be able to answer them. So we have a question on socio-economic risk. So can you brief about it? Yes, doctor.
This question is to me or to Mr. Vikas?
To you, doctor. It's about socio-economic risk to you.
Okay. If you see, a socio-economic risk is basically change based on social reality at that particular time, economic reality of that particular time. Like COVID-19, if you say, the most of the people they had either reduced salaries or they had, so their buying capacity changed. So what company did during that time, they started manufacturing small, rather than big 100 grams, they started giving 20 grams of those products, like that. So smaller packet of that. So changing based on that reality very fast, and this all comes when we have agile supply chain.
There's one more question to Mr. Vikas Goel. How is supply chain different in healthcare?
So, my friend, in a healthcare, or if we compare the healthcare supply chain, I'm audible?
Yes, you're audible.
Yeah, in a healthcare supply chain, or in a manufacturing supply chain, or in a FMCG products over there, in a healthcare supply chain, the decision maker is the healthcare professional, and the consumer is the patient, and the provider is the hospital pharmacy or the hospital management. Where in the FMCG or other healthcare, non-healthcare products, the consumer is the decision maker. They have to choose the product, whatever be the available in the shelf or in the market, as per their requirement, as per their paying capacity, or as per the availability in the market over there. And the most important part in the healthcare supply chain is the drugs and consumables which is used in the hospital having a shelf life. That means they have a manufacturing date and the expiry date, and the drugs has to be used within that expiry date over there. Third, in healthcare, besides the tablet capsules or the medicines which the patient can take at home, most of the injectables, the high-end devices and consumables is used in the hospital setup under the guidance of the nurses, doctors, technicians, or in a proper hygienic setup like OT or cath lab over there. And fourth, the manufacturing plants, how the drugs are manufactured, how they are approved by the government agencies like Drug Controller General of India over there for the new drug approvals, or there is a lot of clinical trials are existing, like trial 1, 2, 3, 4 for various stages of the approval before the drugs and consumables in the market over there. And lot of research is done before introducing the product in the market over there. So these are the certain factors which make the healthcare supply chain, healthcare requirement, materials requirement versus the non-healthcare requirement.
Thank you, Mr. Goel. The next question is for Dr. Sharma. How do we prepare for any contingencies like the pandemic or any other emergencies?
Thank you very much. Basically, we need to first, by seeing our environment, we'll need to look into what kind of, first, I will say, first you need to have good supply chain, and you need to know, you need to assess regularly the risk factor in your supply chain. If you know the risk factor in supply chain, it's very easy to mitigate those risks. If there is a if there's a pandemic like situation, you know what kind of pandemic, what kind of items may be used during this pandemic. Now, once you know these two, now second thing is you look into who are the manufacturers of these items. Look into how much stock your distributor is having, how much it may be needed for that. Make sure that you make that multiple time of that supplies. Look into the raw material of that. Go talk to the manufacturers that time, how much raw material they are having, what kind of issues they may face, and of course multi-source, multi-vendors system will help in such situations. Hope I'm clear.
I think we have the next question to Mr. Goel. How do we ensure patient safety at all the times?
So patient safety, so my friend, patient safety in the hospitals, if we can follow the 5R formula, like the right patient, right medicines, right time, right dosage form, in the right quantity, right quality, and provided by the right people.
So if we can to the material management.
Yeah. So we can see for the materials as well as for the patient. So if for the maintaining the quality and the patient quality and adhering the practices, so we have to starting with the right patient identifications. So in the hospitals, we are using the two nomenclature for identifying the inpatient in the hospitals, like the patient ID band and their name or their room number and doctor name. So these are the 2-3 combinations we can use to identify the right patient. And then there is a different protocols in the clinical point of view, which leg they would like to go for the surgeries. In the orthopedic cases, like left and right, they are doing the marking, the nursing and doctor are checking as per their protocols over there. So most important part is identification of the right patient and then providing the subsequent course of treatment, which is prescribed by the doctor.
Okay, there's one more question.
I just want to add here. Can I do that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You can do that.
So safety in supply chain comes from when you are selecting a product. While selecting a product, you need to look into benefit risk ratio of that. You need to look into, if you are a biomedical product, if it is, you need to look at what kind of safety issues are with that product reported in the literatures. What are the alternate available for that, and compared to those alternate, how safe this product is. And of course, you require, if this is a new instrument, new things, you need training. Even for drugs, you need to train your nurses for new administration of those new drugs. You need to tell them to look for those side effects of those particular drugs. And then comes selection of a good vendors who follows ethical practices, and looking into if it is a single vendor, looking how you can prevent those counterfeit, spurious drug or spurious imitating product coming into your system. Those are safety aspects, in addition to what Mr. Vikas told.
Thank you, doctor. The next question is also for Mr. Goel. Any possibility of economic balancing in view of high pricing of healthcare consumables, bridging the management and patient? Kindly advise.
So considering the pricing part, because it's also dependent upon the hospital policies and the management policies with the directives they have given over there. And the most important part for selecting the consumables and the drugs for the hospitals, we have to have a hospital formulary. So if we have a hospital formulary which is prepared and the drugs and consumables selected by a group of people, a group of doctors, especially, and clinicians, including the clinical pharmacy team. So that is the first point to choose a right product. And then once the product is selected by this team of doctors and the hospital formulary team, then the commercial department will identify and negotiate with the vendors and try to find out who are the lowest one. So instead of going with the brand name, brand specifications, we go for the generic requirement of the hospitals, take the approval from the hospital formulary committee, and then negotiate with the vendors and find out who is the most economical or most financially viable for the hospital.
Thank you. Dr. Sharma, there's one more question for you. What has been your most challenging moment in supply chain role? How did you resolve it?
In COVID-19, we have faced remdesivir, tocilizumab. It was nightmare for everyone, right? We have faced, all of us has faced that. And by forecasting this in advance, knowing how many patients may require this, close contact with clinicians at that particular time. Clinicians at one side, manufacturers at other side, looks how much stock they are maintaining. These were the strategies we employed during that.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I think it was really a wonderful session, and we all enjoyed your deliberations the most. I really thank both the speakers from the bottom of my heart that it was an excellent deliberation today. And I think all of our audience who are there today on Zoom and even on the YouTube live were enjoying it to the core. So here's a quick update for the next webinar, which is happening tomorrow. So this is on root cause analysis, how to conduct a root cause analysis. Request all to register if you have not registered for it. Next to that is we have very limited slots for our upcoming International Patient Safety Conference, which is happening on 13th and 14th of February at Taj Palace, New Delhi. Since the slots are very limited, request you all to block your seats immediately. So thank you all for your patient listening. I think it was a wonderful deliberation. Thank you, the organizing team, for giving me this opportunity to be moderating this session. Thank you once again.
Everyone.